this is Joe DiVita from Loudwire, and with me today is a very special guest, the legendary Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden, new album Senjutsu, 17th album coming out September 3rd. Bruce, how are you?
Oh, I'm very well, actually. Yeah, extremely good.
Got a little bit of tea here for our chat.
Actually, yeah, I don't know where mine is.
Got some too?
Mine's on the, hang on a minute, mine's on the, just a second, I will go and get my tea. There you go, a cauldron of tea.
Cheers.
Mug.
Now this feels official.
There you go. Now we're actually cooking, kind of, yeah. Well, coffeeing actually is my case, my poison, but.
Well, we got the Brit drinking coffee and the American drinking tea.
Yeah, there you go.
So let's take things back to before anything the world knew anything about Senjutsu and this fabulous Belshazzar's Feast teaser campaign that led up to the writing on the wall. How did this idea originate? Where did it start? Who thought of it?
Right. Well, I can't take any credit really for the teaser campaign, because that was down to Sarah in our Maiden office, and she came up with the idea because she is the goddess of all things social media, internet, and all the rest of it. I mean, me, I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on Instagram, I'm not on Twitter. I have no social media presence whatsoever, and I love it because that means I get to sleep at night and not obsess over what idiots say about me. So, however, I do, appreciate that, the modern world, it's the way people feel the need to communicate. So I was like, yeah, let's try it, whatever, because let's face it, in the mad world of the pandemic, you can't actually go around and physically meet people or have premieres. I mean, one of the ideas was to have a premiere of the video actually in theaters and have people, go and tweet it and have it go viral, but that wasn't going to happen. So she came up with the idea of this campaign. Now, strangely, there's a clue to the campaign at the beginning of the video, which is the invitation to Belshazzar's Feast. Yeah. And that very nearly didn't end up in the video. That because the video company, much as I love them, forgot it. So we got to the end of this great production, and I watched the whole thing back, and I went, we're missing something, guys. And they went, oh yeah. I said, well, it's supposed to be like an invite to the whole thing. That's kind of why it makes sense. That's why, that's why this guy goes and follows the trail, the invite, because he picks up the invite from the Dead Maiden fan. That's where he's going. That's where everybody's going. And if you don't know that at the beginning of the video, it's like watching Star Wars without, in a galaxy far, far away, the preamble at the beginning. It wouldn't make any sense until halfway through the movie. I said, you've got to have this in there. And they're like, oh, I don't know how we do that. And actually, it's Mark Andrews from the Pick ex-Pixar guys, who were our kind of exec producers on it. And they said, there's a fix for this. Maybe if we could just put an invite sheet that falls to the floor. Because originally the kid was actually clutching it in his hand. Well, in this way, you just see it drop to the floor as he drops, which is an easier fix for the animation. So I said, well, let's just do something simple and black and white, like a kind of a handbill for like one of those semi-legal rave parties, where you get posters going up on concrete posts under roadways and things like that. So I just made it up and made up this, heaven and hell, rain or shine, or no, rain or shine. No, that sounds, live forever, live forever, a little play on words, chuck that in there, and thought no more about it. But of course, we took that poster and turned it into the shirt and turned it into the beginning of what was in effect a kind of rave campaign, illegal rave campaign on the internet. And with the clues that she put up, I mean, it was a proper Sherlock Holmes kind of Easter egg hunt through the internet. I mean, it was really cool. I was seriously impressed, I have to say, at what the team put together. Very, very impressed. So that's how it happened, anyway.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun for us. It was so much confusion of what does all this mean? The more clues we got, the more questions we had. I loved it. I had a blast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Diving into the album proper, your only 3 writing credits on the album are with Adrian. What over
Yeah.
the years has made him so consistently an ideal songwriting partner for you?
Well, we tend to, when we write together, things fall into place extremely quickly. So he's quite a comfortable chap to write with, from that perspective, because he comes up with some, chord structures and things like that that are really easy to sing over. And they've got a lot of kind of musical color in them, which makes it easy to paint little pictures in my head and write words and tunes that go on top. Sometimes, we can swap things around a little bit, like what he thought might have been a chorus might turn into be something in the middle, or what I thought might have been a chorus might turn into like a guitar piece. But you find that out once you start knocking ideas around. It's a bit like, I mean, he's a great tennis player, and I think that, when you write songs with Adrian, it is a little bit like knocking a ball back and forth, and once you get to a good rally, you think, oh yeah, that was good, that was creative, and that's actually, it is exactly what writing songs is like with Adrian. Writing with Steve or Yannick, yeah, and Yannick not so much. I mean, I didn't end up doing anything with Yannick, but it wasn't like deliberate or anything weird like that. Steve already had some ideas and bits from Yannick and from Adrian, and he likes to sort of take things away and be sort of like God, I'm the master, and I will go away and do it all and come out and say, here's my bit, this is what everybody has to do, so that's just the way he likes to work. I'm not sure he's not always comfortable with spontaneity, in terms of that. He likes to be, his moment of spontaneity is like, hey guys, surprise, I've done the whole thing, but that's just him. That's the way he is. I mean, we've been, on and off together for 40 something years. So, I mean, we do get to know the way we all work, and strengths and weaknesses and things like that, so well, having done the record, we were like, yeah, this is a really cool album, I mean, I was quite surprised, actually. Both me and Adrian were quite surprised when we did Writing on the Wall, that he went, oh, I love that, it's got to be the first track. We went, whoa, cool, yeah, well, we sort of thought it might be an interesting first track, but well, that came left field, so so we got that as the first cut, and of course it is kind of, it's different for us. It's a bit more, I suppose, or you might say a bit more mainstream in a way, than more kind of classic rock type stuff.
Sure.
Than Maiden has, yeah, as Maiden has ever done in the past. But we are, we're digging through our dressing up box of things we used to dress up in when we were kids, whether it's clothes of Jethro Tull or Deep Purple or whoever it was. And you dig them out, and you bring them out into into the open after all these years. And they've been there since the existence of the band. You have to listen to tracks that going all the way back to Prodigal Son and things like that, back when I wasn't even in the band.
Absolutely.
And you go, hold on a minute, that's very Jethro Tully. And of course, me and Steve are huge Jethro Tull fans, actually probably of different albums. So I really am a big fan of the early folk stuff and things like that. He's a big fan of like Thick as Brick and the really, really lengthy proggy things.
Passion play.
Your passion play, he loves that. I'm not so crazy about that. I prefer the shorter stuff. I mean, he's a massive Genesis fan. I'm not Genesis with Phil Collins so much, but the early Genesis with Peter Gabriel. On the other hand, I'm more of a Peter Gabriel solo fan. When he left Genesis, I think his stuff was more edgy. Gabriel 3, I think it was. That, wow, what an incredible album. Intruder, No Self-Control. That's a sinister record. But again, I was a big fan of Van der Graaf Generator, which is a band that people go, who the hell are they? And they're English. great band, English prog band, and they were contemporaries with Genesis. They were just not as big as Genesis, you know. And they were more kind of proggy, art rocky type stuff. But I took huge inspiration from them, from Peter Hamill, from lyric wise and everything. So we between the pair of us, there's a fair amount of prog lurking in there, you know. So that's and of course now it's come out the last few albums, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. For what it's worth, Songs from the Wood is my Jethro Tull album.
Standing on one leg as I stand, let me bring you songs from the wood. Yeah, sorry.
Now, my favorite song on Senjutsu is The Time Machine. It's so playful.
Isn't it great?
It's quite different from a lot of things Maiden have done in the past. Now,
I know.
If you had a time machine, where or when would you travel to first?
I'd go back to the first of all, I'd go back to the resurrection. So I'd actually want to be standing outside the tomb going, okay, it's been 3 days. It's a pretty rotten way to spend Easter. It's about time. Right, come on, let's have a look at you then, you know. Yeah, let's see if that was all just symbolism and bullshit. No, I mean, I think there's you know, there's some sort of seminal events like that.
Yeah, that changed the course of 2,000 years.
Adam and Eve would have been a good moment, you know. I mean, you could have really screwed with history there if you'd have just gone sort of like just hit Adam over the head and say, actually, Adam, sorry, mate, it's Bruce. It's going to be Bruce and Eve. We're just going to have to change things now, change things around.
Well, there's plenty of Maiden fans who definitely worship you as if you were Adam.
Well, yeah, that can have that can have consequences. I mean, obviously we shoehorned Adam and Eve into the video at the end because we needed a positive ending, you know. And I was just like, well, you know, we've got this like cataclysmic ending, which is a kind of nod towards, I don't know if you remember the movie Dr. Strangelove, Stanley Kubrick. At the end of it all, they have this song, World War II popular song, "We'll Meet Again," as the bombs go off, you know, at the end. Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of an homage to that. And then I thought, well, hang on a minute, it's all a bit grim, you know. Eddie just like ends the world and there's nothing else. I thought, well, now if we need Adam and Eve in there at the end, you know, and Eddie gives them the apple. So then we had to Andrew. Then that's when I kind of put them in the video as the two unfortunate people, like Dr. Manhattan and Mrs. Manhattan, who are being like fed into the evil vampire king and rejuvenating him with their fluids, you know. And of course, Eddie liberates them, and it's like, hey, yeah, we're going to get rid of all these jerks, and we're going to start again, starting with you guys. Here's an apple, get on with it. You know? So yeah, so that was the vibe there. But I mean, Time Machine, no, it is a fantastic track. I mean, and I love the way the opening line of it is genius. You know, have I ever told you about my time machine? You know, I mean, it's just like, how many ways can you say that? Have I ever told you about my time machine? Have I told you? Have I told you about my time machine? You know, it's really good fun. And it's got this bit in the middle of it, which is just, I can just see every pair of Maiden fans' feet in the room jumping. You know,
it sounds like we've heard about. It sounds like we've heard about the Time Machine, and when that part hits, we're stepping into the Time Machine.
No, yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, I've got sketches for crazy stage ideas to do with a lot of the songs, some of which may never see the light of day because somebody says, nah, that's going to be too expensive or that's going to be too crazy. But
you always have big ideas. You wanted to have dirt exploding on the stage for the matter of
tour. Oh yeah. No. There's no shortage of insane ideas. But you know, unless you have the ideas, you know, then you can't nothing ever is going to happen if you don't have the ideas. You know?
Exactly. Now, you've been pretty open about how your voice has changed over the years, and you've had to kind of sort of relearn or readapt your voice to how it's changed. Obviously, you've been singing quite a lot live since you've recovered from cancer, but in the studio, is there anything different about your range or how you approach certain vowels or consonant sounds and combinations, anything like that?
No, not especially. I mean, the after doing 3 or 4 months with the Legacy tour, I mean, we don't detune. I mean, we're doing all the songs. We're doing all Run to the Hills and all the rest of it, and Trooper and blah blah blah. Doing it all in the original keys, you know. And I'm hitting all the same notes I used to hit 40 years ago, you know. So I'm like, well, really, you know. I mean, the tone of the voice has got a bit thicker, you know. It's got a bit fatter,
More robust.
which well, yeah, which is what happens when yeah, it is more robust. If you were going to say, you know, I mean, you get this. I mean, I'm definitely in the, you know, tenor sort of range. But obviously there's different types of tenor. You know, got like a lyric tenor, which has a very light and fiddly type top end voice. And there's a robust tenor, which can almost go down into a baritone. You know, it's like you know, stuff. You know, so I mean, one of my favorite tenors, I mean, Ronnie Dio, you know, I mean, and Ronnie was a kind of a hybrid. What, you know, obviously as he got older, his voice was, you know, much more robusto, you know. But you know, if you hear him on some early stuff, in particular, some of the stuff that he did pre-Rainbow, I mean, there was an album he did called Butterfly Ball. He was a guest on it. Roger Glover from Deep Purple wrote it, a lot of it, and produced it. And there's a song on there called Froggy's Song. And it is just, his voice is like glass. It's so transparent and it's just amazing, you know. So yeah, I've always wanted to cover that song. I mean, and not, you know, unnecessarily on an album, but just live. I've got some orchestral things coming up. One actually with Roger Glover in Hungary in November. So we're working with an orchestra. We're doing the same thing I did last year with the orchestra in Quebec City, where we did 2 nights, and we did the John Lord's Concerto for Group and Orchestra, and then we did five purple tunes at the end of it. Doing the same thing in Hungary, but you know, I'm hopeful we might do a few more of them, which would be really cool because they're very enjoyable. And you always get the chance of working with an orchestra. And I know conductor Paul Mann, he, you know, we've been talking, and he said, well, do you fancy doing any other stuff? I said, well, I mean, there's a Maiden song which we would never do called Empire of the Clouds, which was designed for an orchestra. Yeah. And I said, so seeing as we've got one, mate, you know, and he went, oh, that would be, he listened to it, he went, oh, my God, that would be awesome, you know. So there's things we can play around with, but I would love to do, you know, everybody's got to live together. That one. Ring a bell and let the people show. That one, you know, it's just fucking brilliant. Yeah. You know, Ronnie doing that, and be great to have a go at that. But Roger Glover's playing bass with us, so yeah, I talked to him about it.
I've watched the video of you and Glenn Hughes singing "Burn" so many times. I've been talking to Glenn Hughes about it too.
It's weird that, you know, I actually had throat cancer when I was singing that. I didn't realize, I didn't even know it. So, you know, that was, I could have, yeah, I could have, I could do it better now, actually.
And last question here, because I know we're coming up on time. Steve did a lot of work on Senjutsu, writing over 40 minutes of material just himself. Which is your favorite of the 4 Steve Harris epics on this album?
God. Well, you know, I actually, you know what? I'm not even sure if he did write the whole thing, but I mean, I just love the title track. And I'm not even sure if he wrote that whole thing. Did he write the whole thing?
That was with
one?
Adrian.
That was with Adrian. No, damn.
Yeah, there's lots of World,
yeah.
Parchment, Death of the Celts, and Hell on Earth.
Yeah. I would have to say Hell on Earth because it's got a bit more, you know, but a close second, I think, would be the Parchment. And I'm even surprised at myself for saying that because it has a lot of repetition in it. But a lot of people I've played it to who I shouldn't have played it to, get into trouble for saying that, love that track. Absolutely love that track. Yeah.
It's got a very mysterious sort of.
Yeah, it moves around. It moves around. I like the fact there's 5.5 minutes with no singing because I go and have another cup of tea. Yeah.
Well, Bruce, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk to us. Really appreciate it. Senjutsu, an amazing album, 17 albums deep. Iron Maiden is still as strong as ever. So
yeah. Thank you very much, sir. All the best.